Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
Hello, I am Alex Baum.
I'm Austin. I'm one of your co-hosts.
And I'm your other co-host, Ian.
And we hope to inspire you and make with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
We want to thank everyone for joining us today here at Crit Academy Studios, where everything's made up and your roles don't matter.
Yeah.
I forgot that that's your thing from, I love it. I love it so much. Hello, everyone. I am back. My name is Alex, misspelled, of course, and I am a D&D content creator that focuses on dungeon mastering and storytelling and improv and things like that. I am on all of the sites, but my main ones are TikTok, where I have more structured content, where I do little 1-minute blurbs about things that may or may not help dungeon masters or possibly me whenever I have a question. And then also I do Twitch, where I basically goof off for 3 hours. Everybody from my place will know we goof off for 3 hours and noodle around with Dungeons and Dragons. Currently we are making sugar dragons. They are chocolate, ice cream, fruit, pastries, and sugar, like Laffy Taffy and things like that.
You're
So we're
killing
making
me.
those dragons. And then we're also making a bird that hunts halflings and gnomes, but not dwarves, because dwarves taste bad.
Do they?
Yes.
Brick
yes,
didn't
yes,
think so.
Well, so these birds that taste bad. And then Justin and I have some secrets to announce whenever Justin would like me to. So
Hold on tight. We'll do that after the main topic, I think. What do you think?
yeah, that sounds perfect.
Awesome. I'm really excited for today's episode. We are talking Strongholds and Followers. Obviously, Alex is joining us once again. We're really excited to have her on because she's actually applied these applied this book to her to multiple campaign settings. So we're really excited to hear her thoughts on it, as well as we're going to give our own, because that's what we do. We read stuff and then just assume we know everything about it and how it works. But before all that, we like to spend we like to kind of clean up house a little bit and talk about some stuff that's going on. If you don't know, we are in the process of writing a 5th edition superhero RPG called Capes and Crooks. We are currently playtesting it bi-weekly on Fridays. You can head over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/Crit Academy. This is going to be our upcoming Kickstarter. This will be our second Kickstarter, as we are almost done with Memorable Monsters. We'll be hopefully sending that out for print proofs really soon. So if you're interested in superheroes in your 5th edition D&D stories and campaigns, you can head over to critacademy.com/capes and crooks and follow us and be notified, and also check out our Facebook and all that stuff, and it's really exciting. So now, before we get into the main topic, one thing that we love to do on our show is give away fat loots. Ain't that right, Austin?
Absolutely. And our first RPG Fat Loot giveaway today is the Princess Project, which, as you may know, is another different thing, which is totally awesome. So the Princess Project Anthology is a collection of adventures focusing on retelling the stories of fairy tale and mythological princesses, upturning the tropes that surround princesses and dethroning the patriarchy. Hooray! Princess Project princesses are inspired by the likes of Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, and the Odyssey, as rewritten by a primarily women and queer folks. Very exciting stuff.
This is single-handedly one of my favorite projects. I think we actually might have covered it, or I wrote a blog post about it some time ago when it first came out. So I want to thank the team for allowing us to give this away today on our show. And I can promise the content's beautiful. See what I did there? Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Princesses, you know.
Who's our winner today?
Our winner today is Hod Jim. I was going to say Jim, but that's a J. There's Hod Jim anyway.
Woo! Congratulations, Hod J. Jim.
But if you didn't win, don't worry about it. Just head over to critacademy.com and subscribe for your chance to win. All you gotta do is click on our little newsletter thing and subscribe to that, and you'll be entered in like a little raffle thing.
Yep.
We do this every week, so really easy.
Every week we give away 2 products. Now the hope is that I've reached out to some content creators, so hopefully we'll be able to get more incoming stuff, and maybe we'll do more than 2. We'll see. But now here to the great stuff.
This is where I do my giveaway from my Discord.
If you would like to, yes, go ahead.
Sure, absolutely. So in my lovely little Discord with my lovely little community, Justin was kind enough to us to allow
It's true.
me
I'm
to
great.
give away his weapon perks, which is just, I personally love this. Weapons are more than just objects that adventurers carry to stab, slice, or break enemies with. In proper hands of a master, they can be powerful tools to gain the upper hand against the enemy. A weapons perk is a special skill or technique that can be used with a specific weapon. And I used a random number generator on the people who reacted to the post and then double checked. And I am very, very excited to announce that our mad scientist himself from the community, Red Dawn, is the winner. So I will get in contact with you, Dawn. I think Dawn is at work right now, but I will get in contact with you, Dawn, because I know Dawn is going to enjoy this.
Oh, I bet he is. It actually just passed the gold threshold for
Really?
bestsellers, so we're really excited for that. So thank you. I hope that he will enjoy it. Just reach out to me and I'll make sure that gets to him. So now,
Sure.
Strongholds and Followers with Alex Baum. Thank you for joining us. So,
Yes.
Alex, since it was your idea to cover this content, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Stronghold and Followers is?
So Strongholds and Followers, as I understand it, is kind of an addition. It's kind of like a whipped cream on top of your float. You know what I mean? Like the float is good, but the whipped cream, So what it allows you to do is it allows you to do a couple of things. First, it allows you to have not just a stronghold, as in a single building, but an entire city, essentially. And in his second book, Kingdoms and Warfares, he kind of expands on the city part, kingdoms, hello. And so you can have several types of strongholds. I have personally had a temple, and I have also had an establishment that was definitely a gambling house, an illegal gambling house. It was very fun. It was
Nice.
very, very
That's awesome.
fun.
So
And
you said
I've-
he. Who is he, for those that don't know?
Oh, this is written by the wonderful Matt Colville. So Matt Colville has worked in the space of tabletop RPG for a really long time. He used to work at an old studio and then decided to found MCDM, which is his own studio, and this was his first book, and I actually loved it so much I backed the Kickstarter. And fun fact, I've only backed 3 Kickstarters in my entire life, and this is one of them.
It's a big deal.
Heck
So it was super important to me to get this book because whipped cream. And so that's one part of the book. And then the complete other side of the book is instead of getting a stronghold, you get a squire, you get a scholar, you get a page, you get a little NPC to follow you around and interact with and be a loyal, dedicated just dedicated to you as an adventurer. And those are kind of the 2 sides of the book. There's also a small adventure in the book, which is V-Good, but it's not very long, but it does leave a pretty open ending so that you can bring it into a campaign.
Right.
And then it also comes with a couple of different monsters as well that are terrifying. They're amazing. I will try to find while you read, I will try to find you a picture of one.
So the
Yeah, it
thing.
was kind of nice to see that they
ahead.
actually included the gem dragons, which
Yes.
were available in previous editions, but not in 5th.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was one. That was a big one, and I actually had fun reading about the amethyst dragon and stuff. There's some good shit in there. So Alex gave us a pretty great breakdown. In this book, you're basically going to find rules for 4 types of strongholds. What? Look at that
There it is.
artwork. That's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Looks
For,
really good.
for those of you
Ruby
that
dragon, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, for those of you that are listening in the podcast, it's a shame you're not watching live because you could see that beautiful artwork. So this book gives you rules for 4 different types of strongholds that basically keeps that help you raise armies, improve your fighting abilities. There's actually mechanical benefits to this that applies to your characters, what I think is great. You have the temples that help you summon extraplanar allies to aid you in battle. Towers let you research and alter spells. That is one of my favorite things. And establishments let you collect secrets and generate cash flow. Every strong
Right now, I'm sorry. I will tell you right now, the tower can go so wrong so fast. But if it doesn't, it's honestly the best. If
that's
it
funny.
doesn't do it right, it is the best stronghold.
Yeah. Bar none, though, the coolest thing, I mentioned the mechanical benefits. Every stronghold also improves your signature class feature. That's powering up your bardic inspiration, your monk's key, etc. Strongholds grant improved class features because they draw power from the land itself. Now, the book does state that this will make your character stronger for obvious reasons. So if you're going to apply that, keep that in mind, that you're probably going to have to restructure your encounters to accommodate that. I don't generally have a problem with that because I just make them hit harder or give them more hit points and I move on. But something to keep in mind. So let's move on to the different types of strongholds. Alex, as our guest, would you like to tell us about the first one?
I believe the first one that they go over is a keep.
Yep.
Yes, a keep is a martial stronghold for a character interested in raising armies and defending local townsfolk. Barbarian camps and pirate ships are variations of this. So whenever we had a keep in our game, it was very much by a noble who a good fit is a noble or somebody who wants to have some sort of homestead. It's also very, very nice for people who like war games because there's a miniature war game which is expanded upon in Kingdoms of Warfare that goes in to all of this stuff to begin with. So those are very, very interesting. Some of the benefits of a keep are you get to raise an army, you get fitness training or finesse training. That's it. The dyslexia. There you go. Yes, when an adjacent enemy damages you with a melee weapon, you may, as a reaction, take a melee weapon attack against them with your wielded finesse weapon. So obviously that can come in handy in many, many decks, people. And then shield training. If you succeed in a weapon attack while wielding a shield, you can push the target 5 feet away from you. This movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. Whenever the person that had this in my thing was actually a paladin. So one of the things that I think wasn't necessarily established in the beginning, but is established now as Strongholds and Followers has grown older, is that you don't have to be a cleric and have a temple. You don't have to be. So I had a paladin who had a keep, and let me tell you, that was crazy because they took the shield one, and it was. It was insane. So that's our first one.
So Austin, Ian, what are your guys' thoughts on these kind of benefits and this structure, and what could you see getting how would you get the most out of this as from a player perspective, or even as a DM if you got notes on that?
I think my thing, because I always want to play like a warlock, but warlocks never get to have anything that's like light, or they only have like light armor unless you're choosing like hexblade, which I understand. So I don't know, I always like the idea that like I can kind of circumvent a little bit with using light armor, because on the light armor training, for instance, says I have advantage on dexterity checks while wearing light armor. That's crazy. Like that is a very strong thing. Now I am a sneaky warlock.
Right.
Or anything around those lines, or maybe I have
so how does that tie into the martial keep, I guess?
Well, that's part of the training. That's one of the training features for the
keep.
There's a lot of training features.
There's way more than just the one. Like
there's light armor, medium armor, heavy armor, bludgeoning, finesse, piercing, reach, shield, slashing, and versatile. Versatile is well, wielding a versatile weapon in 2 hands, you gain 1 AC.
Right.
Which I think that's really cool too.
Bro.
I'm an idiot. These were samples. I forgot there was more than what I put in the show notes.
That's okay.
But I just really like the idea of having a keep, and then just like you gain this like training, I guess. And I don't know, like, this is my base, and I will train here until trouble comes my way or trouble decides to destroy the world, and I will be there.
Right. What about you, Ian?
My main thoughts with this is I do like the martial aspect of it as well, because you like the idea of raising an army, which you can do with all these, obviously. Actually, my main thoughts with this actually applies to all the strongholds. I like the fact that this acts as a base of operations that the players can operate from, which can act as a starting point or mini quest, actually, or even in some cases an anchor of I operate here. This is where I go.
That's actually like a really good point. Like, do you know a
Muffin
game
Man?
that doesn't have a do you know a game that doesn't have a home base? Like, I can't think of a game that doesn't have a home base.
That's kind of the thing. Well, yeah, that's pretty.
That's a good point.
That's a
Especially
good
like
aspect.
modern gaming
Oh.
as well.
And actually, in many ways too, I could also see you taking these strongholds and some cases, especially when you take into account like the lieutenant option later on in this book. Actually, you can turn this into like a guild hall, if you will, too.
Right.
Mhm.
That's one of the.
And-
Go ahead.
And I was gonna say, Alex did kind of mention the whole like wargaming thing, and I think a keep would actually be really good for that,
Right.
particularly because I mean, the now you have these player characters that are like almost amassing their own kingdom, and like other kingdoms are gonna look at them and be like, "Hey, you can't do that. You don't own that land."
They actually
Yeah.
touch on this in the book too.
Actually, for the war game, there are medium, light, and heavy versions of cavalry, archery, infantry, and I forgot the last one. And the reason why there are the different ones is because they have different skills. And I believe the keep and one other one are the only ones that can get heavy infantry, archery, cavalry. So
Makes
there is whenever it comes to the war game mini game, there is an extreme advantage of having a keep.
Yeah. So we got a really great question from Tom Foolery here on Twitch. He says, "How does one raise a keep? How long to? You can use it to keep pushing forward. So how long does it take to raise one, and how much does it cost?" There's a few different tables, I think, that touch on that, but it basically it gives you a structure, but really as a DM you can set the rate of assembly. The more money they put into it, the faster it builds. Do they enslave people to build it? Do they hire a necromancer to raise undead to have them build it? I mean, as a DM, I would go out of my way. Hey, you tell me how you want to build it. Are the four of you going to do it? Well, it's going to take a hell of a long time. Or you're going to have to go out and become heroes and start earning respect and getting people to work for you and hire them. And there's that gold sink that everyone says there's not enough things to spend money on. Well, here is one.
Yeah, this is like a very huge way to do that.
Yeah, and the fact that the keep scale is also part of that as well. Did you find the page that had the cost? Can you give us some examples there, Alex?
So in the book, because I read the book cover to cover, in the book he talks about how there's really like two ways that are structured in the book, which is just from the ground up, but also there is another way that is like you get ruins and you like clear them and renovate them. But he does say in the book, like, your players are going to tell you how they're going to make the keep. You're not going to be the one.
Yeah.
So for example, a keep costs 10,000 gold to build, and it takes 150 in-game days.
That sounds about right.
But then that's just level 1 to do it. To upgrade it to second level is 5,000. To upgrade it to third level is 10,000, and then to upgrade to fourth is 15,000, and then to upgrade to fifth is 20,000. So it is a penny.
Yeah, it costs
a lot of gold.
Yeah, and I think that's the point, right? Because the players will tell you what they prioritize. If you set up the groundwork for a keep and they don't take interest, then hey, that's up to them. Or if they decide that they're only going to dedicate a little bit to it, then it'll take that longer. What you can do as a DM, and I think this is where it really shines, is we can leverage downtime, right? At the end of a short, let's say you all are level 5, right? And that's the end of the adventure or the short campaign. The DM can decide how much time passes between that and the next one. So it could be you guys all our money is going to go into building this keep for the foreseeable future. So you spend out the down payment, if you will, at the end of level 5. And then when you come back, it may be on the verge of being completed. It may already be completed. It may have been completed for some time. And you can leverage that as the DM to make sure that your players get to enjoy it. Because everyone gets kind of scared of the whole, oh, it's going to take this amount long time. Like I think that happens with a suit of plate mail. It'll take a year to get a suit of plate mail. Well, not really. Just when you do an adventure and then end it, just make a long delay between the time the last one started and the new one starts. So it makes it less of a concern and a faster rewarding, rewarding more quickly.
And on the
And you can also leverage optional rules too, like the Xanathars too, as well, for that matter.
I was gonna say on the flip
Speed
side,
things
you
up.
can actually whenever I very first did these, my boyfriend came up with a very, very good idea, which was that if you reward too many magic items, too much gold to players, and you waterlog them, what you do is after an arc, you reward them a keep that has to be built. So you're technically rewarding them 10,000 gold,
right?
Just in 150 days.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. That's really good.
And then I
Also,
like
if all your go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say also, if all of your characters are bastards, they could also just go take a keep. I hate to be that
You
guy,
can
but
certainly
I mean,
try.
I will definitely be that player who's like, look, all I'm saying is that these guys are bad guys and we're the good guys. We're just doing everyone a service.
by
Actually, the
reallocating
option
it.
is clearing out a semi-abundant keep that has that orc infestation.
Right. So
I'm just saying a lich lives there and no one wants a lich there. I'm just clearing out the room.
you know, it would be hilarious, and I'm going to get on a tangent for a quick second. The idea of taking out a big bad, and then as you're cleaning it out, or one of your servants or paid hired, laborers,
One of your undead laborers.
bumps something and creates a rift in the dimension, and now something big busts out here. Like, I just put 15,000 gold into that. Well, you should have looked more clearer before you broke into and stole it from a lich. Anyways, Austin, would you like to tell us about the next type of keep, or the next type of stronghold?
Yeah, so the next stronghold we have here is actually a tower, which is an arcane stronghold for doing spell research and learning battle magic, which is probably something Justin is very interested in.
Oh, yes, I am all over this. It tickles my dice.
Some sample benefits, as it was kind of touched on earlier. Spell research, so inventing new spells by altering existing mechanics, such as Fireball doing lightning damage, or adding the option of spells from third-party material as created character spells. There's also additional features, such as tables included allow you to add alterations to existing spells. The Omniscient feature lets the target grow a third eye to reveal hidden, disguised, and invisible creatures. So researching Fly, for example, could lead to Kale's Omniscient Flight.
So now you get these other benefits. So you're right. I love this. I have talked on the show a plethora of times about allowing a player to alter a spell to fit a theme. There, with Strongholds and Followers, there is a mechanic for that now. Like, we're going to build a tower. I want to learn to make Ice Bolt. What's wrong with Ray of Frost? It does less damage than an Ice Bolt will. Or just change the element type, right? Or changing Fireball into a crackling energy of lightning that just, shocks the shit out of stuff instead of being a fireball. But this basically allows you, there's tables that let you take these additional little features and stack them onto spells. For instance, as Austin mentioned with the Omniscient feature, which is on one of the tables, then you combine it with Flight, and now Flight does Flight plus this other thing. And I think that's so awesome. Alex?
I like it a lot.
I'm trying to find my favorite one.
Okay.
I'm trying.
I
have all of the things right here.
Ian, what do you think about this while she's looking for her favorite one?
I liked it, and I did like the spell researching component of it, plus the benefits. And I think you know what structure I kept on thinking about as I was reading through this from our Story Team's Thunder campaign.
You trying to take the Frost Giant's floating castle tower?
Oh, my granite outhouse.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that outhouse. We need to get. I can't wait to get back to that. He built a ground outhouse that when you open it, it's got like a secret base underneath. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he
That's
does.
amazing.
So did you find one?
Yeah. So my favorite one of all, really everyone should go and read all of them because they're really, really good. But my
Yeah,
personal
They're all
favorite
awesome.
is if the spell is targeting several enemies, so like fireball or something like that, or something like that. One of the things that it can do is hideous. Until the end of its next turn, the target's arms mutate into tentacles, causing them to drop its weapons. If the target does not have arms, it grows them, flailing ineffectually, missing attacks, and failing to cast spells.
That is so cool. And that's
That
an
is very
addition.
powerful.
That is an addition to whatever the spell effect normally does. So let's use the fireball as an example. You shoot out this like purple gook that blasts out and mutates the people when it hits it. That sounds way cooler than just blowing them up.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, and I will say, like, for just anyone who maybe, like, particularly your wizard or your sorcerer doesn't actually want to, you have a stronghold, they want to have something else, and to balance and everything, you can take this mechanic out and use it in general.
Yes.
Like,
sure.
seriously, this mechanic is actually like way more diverse than they made it sound.
Yeah, they did. I like the idea of a fireball that's overwhelming, and it just as it explodes, everyone just gets knocked prone. They're like, "What did you
Right.
just do?" I was like, I don't know what I did. I made an oops."
The chat is just blowing up with some stuff that's got me cracking up. Technoclave dubs the keep 3 dragon keep because it costs. That's how many dragon hordes it cost.
Yeah, basically.
So I actually like what you touched on there, Alex. We covered a product, and I wish I would have figured out what it was before this moment, but we covered something like a year or so ago, and what it did is it had something similar where you can build these little fortresses, and you could have like individual rooms. So instead of having a mage tower, you could have a mage like magic room area that follows these effects. So instead of saying,
cool.
hey, we just had a tower, hey, we're gonna build a stronghold and we're gonna start with the keep, and now when we go to level 2, maybe we're gonna add a little wizard section to it instead of whatever other feature. So I totally can see myself allowing my players to mix and match some of these different features at a cost.
So what you're talking about is the castle.
Yes,
They do that, and that's the castle. And
awesome.
it's the best.
That's very cool.
There, so I really like these like elemental modifier ones right here. So like the lightning one that says like shocking. It says affected targets have disadvantage on all saving throws until your next turn. They're just so like petrified with lightning that they can't move.
Yeah.
Or the necrotic one, which is unholy. 1d4 ghouls rise from the ground. Each appears anywhere you choose within 30 feet. They obey your commands for a number of rounds equal to your spellcasting ability modifier and then crumble to dust. So you just call up just dudes. And they're like, hey, go get that guy.
The other thing that
That's awesome.
I like about this is this gives you a great opportunity for a player to bring in an outside material from what you normally play. If you start a campaign saying we're going to use Xanathar's Guide and the Player's Handbook, and then another book comes out and they want this spell, you can leverage that in this setting and say, oh, I want to train and research this type of magic, and then you can bring in those spells from outside as the player learn them, which I think is gonna make the player really happy.
So smart. That's so like Dunamancy. Oh,
Yes.
that's so smart, Justin.
That's true. I'm great.
yeah, you are.
No, but that's the first thing that came to my mind, because that's what I did with in my campaign. When people would find the scrolls would be for content that they didn't have available to them. So it was truly a new spell that was now available to them, whether it was something I got off DM's Guild or Drive-Thru or some other source. And that to me made it more exciting for the player because, oh, hey, I learned a new spell. I learned a new spell. Like, this wasn't an option before, but now it is. And Dunamancy's a really perfect example of that. All right, so we could ramble on. I do want to ask before we continue to the next one with Ian. You said this could be dangerous. What unfolded in your campaign that gave you that is a warning to us all?
I had a sorcerer, and he's a wonderful person, and we were just so excited about being able to modify spells that we let ourselves get a little ahead of ourselves, and so we had a big time skip.
Mhm.
And during time skips, you're only supposed to be able to do one thing, and it says so in the book that you're only supposed to do one thing in the time skips to keep it balanced. And I was like, no. So like it takes 60 days. I believe it takes 60 days to learn a new spell.
Mhm.
So like it was 100 days. So all this stuff, and that really unbalanced his character. You don't understand how much effect pushing the targets 10 feet back is until they push the targets 10 feet back, and then everything changes. So my biggest caution, my big thing is like, the tower is amazing, absolutely have one in your game, but go with the rules.
Yes.
Like do what the rules say.
That's funny. Follow the rules. They're there for a reason.
Yes.
Right.
All right, Ian, would you like to tell us about the next stronghold?
Next temple. The next option we get is the temple, a divine stronghold for summoning extraplanar allies and learning battle magic. And there's a couple other variations, which also includes a druid's grove.
Nice.
And some sample benefits includes, and this is definitely a big one, you kind of like gain what they call the concordance chart, where you basically, it's like how well off are you with your deity.
Okay.
It's basically what that is. And you can occasionally, as a result, petition your deity for some additional options. And some of the results could include like receiving some boons, which function similarly to bless. And in some extreme cases, you can even summon servitors.
Ooh, that
Various
sounds cool.
types depending on what your deity's alignments are. Like if you have something like a elemental deity, you might summon a fire mote, a knight of air, a storm magistrate, or a high templar of dust.
That
Or
sounds so cool.
Fae include like a mantis knight, ash marshal, sidereal vizier. And there's even some undead or demonic options here and there too, or
Right.
even some angelic ones.
Yeah,
So
and
there's a lot to play off of.
the one thing I think is really cool about this is they give you some examples with the concordance chart, but personally, I would expand upon this and include other divine sites of magic, like what is the paladin, the aura of vitality could be a really great boon for this, for instance. I also like the idea of there's a curse section in here. I don't think it's big enough. Like, there's a part where maybe you just your deity's just pissed off because you won't shut up. in this concordance chart, it's 1 to 20. I might push it up to like 25, but then I would break it up with a couple different other features that I think would be fun. This one is for the next minute. Whenever you make an attack roll or saving throw, you must roll a d4 and subtract it. It's basically the Bane spell. So
It is worth noting that you have to do stuff to increase your standing with your deity, but then the more you petition them, the more favors you grant, it lowers your standing with it too. So it's kind of one of those, it's a balancing act.
Yeah. Concordance was actually one of the most difficult things to understand in the entire book, because like they do explain it, but it's like it's one of those things like riding a bike, you have to like do it. The best way that I can explain it is like it's basically a reward for role play. So like if your player actually says that they're praying, if your player actually like my player would go around and make little the traditional shrine was made out of pebbles. So my player would go around and collect pebbles, and then just in random spots in towns, he would like just make a little shrine. And so that was to get concordance.
That's the equivalent of a church pamphlet.
Yeah, that's
Like,
basically what he was
do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior Bahamut? Sorry.
That is actually basically what
Oh
he was
my god,
doing.
that's funny.
But that would end up getting him concordance with the god, and it ends up being like a really, really good roleplay incentive, because what ends up happening is other players start to like, oh, what are you doing? Why do you keep collecting pebbles? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the concordance has a mechanic like fight wise, because it because it has all of these guys that you can summon to help fight with you. Which, by the way, the art for these guys is amazing. The art for the angels is
Mm-hmm.
oh
Spot
my
on.
god,
They're like biblically accurate angels.
they're
Yeah.
biblically accurate angels. Yeah,
Yeah, because I was looking at them, I was like, the seraph. I wonder, is it gonna be like some big old, like, really handsome dude with like a couple
No.
wings? No, it is a horrifying thing.
but
It's a
I'm in that
great.
same vein. I remember a webcomic I saw one time where it showed a biblically accurate angel appear to somebody and said, "Do not be afraid, sir. I've never been more afraid in my entire life."
Yeah, it's like on
Um,
page 162.
This
Yeah,
one.
That's nice.
That's the
That-
throne.
That's terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a halo. See, it's just on the
that's
bottom.
almost as crazy as talking to a burning bush. Like, come and help me.
this is a good celestial. This is
Yeah.
one of my favorites.
That's still terrifying. Like, it looks like it's like covered in like a silk, dark silk. I don't know. That's terrifying. Let's actually
That's the
talk
point.
about that for a second, though. Nothing says this has to be good deities. This totally can be for the chaotic evil cleric who worships, Lolth. And the entire, keep is all about spiders and creepy crawlies and what the hell is that? That is the most
Something that you can summon.
That's the most horrifying thing I have ever seen. It looks like an upside down
there's worse.
crayfish, like demonic crayfish. I don't know.
It's
There's worse than that.
CR9. Oh, look at this guy.
Yeah, there's some
Was
real weird.
yeah, so the art's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but
Oh,
man,
Yeah, I love the art.
that's not what is in this doesn't match in my mind what a deity should look like. But anyways, so I think this is really cool. Austin, did you have any comments on this before we move on?
Aside from the biblically accurate angels, that was really all I had because I was like, oh, I'm interested. I'm always down for the whole celestial vibe. I'm going to take a look. And when I looked, I was kind of mortified. for good reasons. Because I guarantee you, no big bad evil guy is going to look at that and be like, I don't want to fight that.
That's
I would
funny.
rather, you can have my keep. Seriously, I don't need this anymore. I don't know what that is, but it's not holy. You might say it is, but it's not.
Wait, could you imagine like if someone playing a cleric and they summon like their level like 9 or something and they summon one of those and like, oh yeah, I'm good. Actually, I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
They just
I-
leave.
They just look at even the clerics like, are you sure you're from the right god? Did I get the wrong number?
Oh, that's funny.
Just pulls out a phone book. It's just a bunch of Bibles.
He fat fingered it and called the wrong one.
Oh my god, that would be so funny.
All right.
I think this was the great old one. I think I made a mistake.
I think that'll do it for temples. The next thing I want to talk about in the last
good.
of the 4 strongholds is the establishment. I save this for my personal talking because I love political intrigue and stuff. So an establishment is an espionage stronghold for sabotaging your enemies and generating revenue, which is just perfect for me.
Revenue.
What's cool about it is you get some unique benefits such as rumors during an adventure, or in lead up to one. The characters can spend money and collect rumors about quests they're going on. Before I go forward, that's super important to me because it allows the characters a reason to spend resources to learn. And that's something that I feel like gets passed up easy often
yeah.
because knowledge is not free. Somebody has to work to get it. And so when we do skill checks and says, hey, I'm going to go ask around town. If that's anybody worth their salt and the knowledge is valuable, they're gonna be like, you're gonna have to talk price because there's no way I'm just gonna give that up because you passed a skill check. The information is valuable, especially when you're going up against a gang of assassins or a cult. The more you know about them, the less likely you are to be surprised, and the better prepared you can be. If you're going up against the followers of an Ifriti, the players probably know that they're fire elementals, but do their characters? Maybe they need to go and find somebody that's willing to share that information just to find out that all the cultists are immune to fire, or all the cultists, use just fire magic. And I'm using that as a simple example. But that's something I feel like doesn't get used enough. So to have an entire structure around that idea is just fascinating to me. The other sample benefit is gathering intel. Intel lets you know what your enemies are up to, along with your allies and those organizations, specifically targeting like guilds, orders, countries, entire groups of people, instead of just like a specific rumor about this big burly thing walking in the forest. And what you learn is up to the GM, which makes it all that better, because the GM will provide something that's generally useful, which is just fantastic as well. As I said, establishments and espionage is something that doesn't get enough attention in the D&D world, I guess. And in fact, anybody that's watching our Capes and Crooks story has learned that there's a lot of stuff going on that's not just got to go take out this bad guy. You have to track the person down. You have to learn where they're at, what they're doing, how they're doing what they're doing, and all that kind of is the sort of stuff that usually gets overlooked. So I'm really gung-ho about this. Before I keep rambling, what do you guys think, Alex?
So the establishment is actually the one that I had in the campaign that was actually like really successful with I've had 2 campaigns where I've had Strongholds in. One, I had to retcon so hard that we should have just started over. And the other one, the establishment, was I did my, which I'm going to talk about in a second, I did my my balancing trick that I've discovered through using this book. And this was what I had. And we had a gambling house. And what it was is that underneath the gambling house, there was actually monstrosity fighting. So people would bring like mimics or blink dogs and stuff like that, or like hellhounds, and they would fight them. And it was very, very fun to narrate that, first of all.
Yeah, you brought in Pokemon into D&D. How would that not be awesome?
And then the other part that was interesting was that because of that, they made contacts for the underground. So this guy who had no connections to the underground whatsoever, all of a sudden started getting feedback and rumors and because he had all these connections to the underground. And as a DM, there was such a joy. It was such a joy to narrate that. It was, and I hope to have an establishment in my game soon, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
But I mean, just some examples of rumors is a location to a secret door and a hidden entrance. The location of a natural trap. So this wall has poison on it, stuff like that. The description of one riddle or puzzle. The location to and description of one powerful magic item. So what I did, because I only got to do one arc, they were against demons, and so they had people. So how they got the rumors is like someone one day brought a demon into the fighting ring, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I'm fighting demons. You have demons?" And then that guy became the contact, and that guy was literally a mole for the players and would go to the demon that they were trying to kill, pretend to be nice to them, and then go back to Cairo and tell him all of the things. And that's how I use the establishment.
I love that. That is the kind of stuff that I love it. That is perfect. Thank you so much for sharing. First of all, the whole Pokemon Underground Fight Club thing is perfect for an establishment. The fact that the upstairs is a gambling thing is also a perfect establishment. People are gonna drink booze. You'll be able to get information from them, bribe them. I mean, all that stuff really is where this whole thing comes in play. I love the idea of revealing secrets to locations. Like, hey, I heard that on the second floor of the Duke's house, there's a tripwire that releases a toxic gas that can drop you in seconds. Well, shit. Let's go upstairs. Are we sure we want to go there? I heard this thing while I was in the. What was the name of your establishment?
Oh my God, it was the grinning gin. That's it.
I heard it in the grinning gin, so it must be true.
So the one that's kind of like that, I had told them that, you know, the door right before the boss is trapped.
Right.
And they didn't remember.
Oh, you should be writing that stuff down, people.
I know. They didn't remember. So that was really, really nice. Whenever I was like, do you remember whenever I told you that this door is trapped? And they're like, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead and roll a deck save, please.
That's funny.
That was great.
What,
Whatever.
Ian? What do you think?
There are so many angles you can play this structure. Like, also, we had gambling house, underground fighting ring, could be a bar. Yeah, a few other activities. A few people in chat mentioned.
It's like I said, of all the options, it was my favorite because it instills it pulls on the more lore and exploration pillars than any of the other ones, I think. Because if you think about it, building an army is still combat, right? Just in a different form. But this one encourages the players to spend resources to learn stuff that's coming up in the campaign, the story. But they also will tell you, I would like to see if I hear any rumors about this. And that's giving you clue to what they're expecting or what they want to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I say, hey, I want to see if there's any rumors about demons. Well, clearly I'm interested in demons, or why the hell would I ask about that? So as a DM, that would give me the clue of, oh, I should be writing this down and see what I can come up with to fit it in there.
And I just wanted to say real fast that you don't have to have like a bar or a brothel or any kind of these things to. The one that they actually use in the book, which is amazing, is actually a theater. Because what happened traditionally in previous theater and in Renaissance festivals is the theater would the final act would conclude, and then all of the players would take their hats off and go into the crowd. And the idea was that while they were in the crowd, they heard the things and then came back to the player. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be a chaotic neutral situation. It can definitely be like, get creative.
Right. That reminds me of, I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy, and in Final Fantasy IX, your core player in the entire start is a crew of thieves doing on a theater show to gain information and then kidnap somebody. So for me, that makes perfect sense and would be great. Austin, did you have anything before we move on?
No, we've pretty much covered a lot of it.
All right. We're kind of running behind a little bit, so there's I want to just jump right to the followers. The whole thing about Strongholds is it's not just a place for you, but it's a place for you to attract people that want to follow you, that want to be part of this heroic journey your character's on, or demonic journey, whichever direction your crew's going. Right.
We are villains making our evil base.
You get to attract followers, which means lots of new characters in your games, which the book does make very clear is a lot of work. Luckily for us, Don John's generators exist, so boom, instant generation. Use the pub creator; it'll tell you all about them, what they're doing. So that makes it a little easier. I would keep that pinned to the side. But the thing I want to talk about the most, and I'm sure Alex would be lovely and tell us about it, is retainers.
Yes. So retainers are actually really, really amazing. The best way that I can explain a retainer is somebody who loved you so much and was so inspired by you, whether it was for a good or bad thing, that they decided to actually follow you and learn from you or fight for you or whatever that may be. And I'm trying to find that's the page that retainers are on. But the retainers are very good because what we used, the retainer was the half healer. No one wanted to be a healer, and everyone would take like one heal spell. So we ended up getting a retainer for the path of the zealot barbarian, who was a cleric, and that cleric ended up being the half healer for the entire group. And what retainers do is do two things. One, they make you feel badass, and two, they fill holes that may or may not exist in your actual party makeup, and that they do that at the same time. I'm making sure that I covered everything. Yeah, so they love you, they hear of your tales, or maybe you save them, and so they decide to be a retainer for you. And there are lots of different retainers. There's everything from spies to assassins to just all sorts of, yeah, now I'm on the Stronghold. So like bards and barbarians, like lore masters, healers, sword masters, skinwalker.
I like
Um,
that one. Political intrigue,
uh,
love, and whatnot.
Cavalier, there's executioner, thaumaturgist. There's just so many options.
I think this works really, really, really well with the companions that came out that WotC released. If you played the new starter kit or have seen any of the DM's Guild stuff, companions are partially filled out PCs basically. They're NPCs, but they have some of the features of the player characters, but they're more like monster stat blocks than anything else. They're great, and I think that this makes really well for that because they can be a stand-in for a job that needs to be done. If your characters lack a rogue or a thief and you're going to be doing a mission to sneak somewhere, being able to have a following retainer that might have the skill set you need would really help fill that role for the few niche times you need it, instead of having them follow you around everywhere you go. They reside at your I'm going to stick with the thief theme. They reside at your establishment. You occasionally go, hey, Zane, I'm going to need your help. We're breaking into this thing, and none of us have the skill set to pick in some locks. You think you can help us? And then that NPC will come along for the ride. I personally would turn that over to a player and let them dual box, because that's one less thing I got to do. But that's why I think the companion theme works really well for this. So
I do want to say that I just want to point out, because you pointed out something and it's important to point out. I know personally, because I'm running NPCs right now. Running an NPC with a boss fight is impossible. I had to give it over to somebody else during the boss fight that happened this past week. But all what these guys have is an armor class, a primary ability, which is just what they get proficiency modifier with, saves that they're good at, skills that they're good at, and then they have a signature attack, and this is their default. If the player doesn't know what else to do, the signature attack is what they do. And it just is a nice old hit, whatever it needs to do. And then they have special actions, which they can do 3 a day, and they get more as they level up, so they get better. And it's just like they get to make another signature attack. They get to make a holy decree while dueling an enemy. They, like
holy decree.
Okay.
Does mother know you weareth her drapes?
But I'm very, very curious to look at these companion things, because I haven't looked at the companion stuff.
It comes in ice
Icewind Dale.
No, yeah, well, that's the setting, but what is the new starter set? I forget what it's called. The D&D starter.
The Essentials kit?
Yeah, the Essentials kit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They first showed up in the Essentials kit, and now they're all over DM's Guild. People have made a bunch of them because they're really great.
I'm pretty sure they're also in Tasha's now, aren't they?
I don't know if it is. I skimmed past that because there was other more interesting things for me to read.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
I just want to say one more thing about these. Going back to like the dual, like being able to use multiple components with and without the Strongholds and Followers. These are so great for NPC stat blocks that are fighting with them like allies. These are amazing. So much easier to use. I actually forgot they exist, and now I'm mad at myself.
That's okay. So for the most part, I think that'll be it for the main topic, though. I know, Alex, we talked about it briefly, the balancing. Did you want to give a quick reminder of that? Because I know you had some points you wanted to touch on. Or do you think we covered that enough earlier?
I can TLDR it. I'll just TLDR it. Basically, whenever you get a stronghold, whenever you first get a stronghold, treat it as a rare magic item whenever you're balancing, and then, or a follower. And then whenever they level up into other levels, then you treat it as a very rare magic item. And personally, my suggestion to you after giving every single player a stronghold, tell players whenever you decide to use this in your thing, tell players you can either have a stronghold, a follower, or a custom made magic item, and have them pick one of those. And that way it also feels more customized and special to them, because some people don't want a stronghold, some people don't want a follower. You know, so if you try to do one of those three things and keep the very rare magic item in mind, it'll balance out a little bit better.
That's interesting.
I am
Thank you for sharing
definitely
that.
the custom magic item guy. I don't need a house. I don't need people. I just need me and this sword that I'm going to asunder people with.
Oh man, that's funny. So I think that'll do it for our main topic, Strongholds and Followers. There is a lot, and we barely grazed it. I mean, there are almost 300 pages in this book.
Yeah, 272. So we covered maybe 13.
Yeah. And
because we didn't really cover like the political stuff, the army step blocks, and so on and so forth.
There's so much stuff, so definitely consider checking it out. If you do want to pick it up, you can head on over to critacademy.com/post/episode 213. There's a link directly to Amazon. If you buy it through there, that would be great, because that's an affiliate link for us, so that does help support the show, as well as add fat loots to your collection. So definitely check that out. Now we're move on to, it's not only my favorite episode or favorite part of the show, but apparently it's the favorite of a lot. But before we get into that, we have an announcement from Alex, I think.
Yes.
Would you like to share?
I'm very, very excited to announce that starting mid-May, I will be launching the Dungeons and Dragons show Initiative and Intrigue. And Justin is gonna be one of my players.
I'm super excited.
Yes. We have everything set out. I will send out a tweet announcing the people soon, but I put the Power in Rangers, who is in chat right now. He is also one of the players. We have Happy Heathens. We have Circle. I don't know if you guys know the guy on TikTok who has the Wizard Help Desk. But
funny as hell.
we have Dominic as well. And I'm super, super excited. And I just wanted to let you guys know we have a half cleric, half multi-class cleric bard, which will be my first multi-class ever at my table. A tiefling sorcerer, a barbarian chef, which is Justin, a dwarf monk, a dwarf monk, which will be my first monk, and a human fighter. And I'm extremely excited. It is going to be every other Friday starting at 6 p.m. my time. So 6:30. So 30 minutes after this started for you guys. And Justin will be in it. So come watch.
I'm super excited. I want to thank Alex for not only including me, but bringing together such a wonderful group of D&D influencers to do this. So I'm really excited. And all that Brick has to say is, let us get cooking, eh? All right.
Yes, I remember Brick.
He's back, but he's not a ranger this time. All right. So
interesting.
Let us go. Happy accident. Let us move on to our favorite segment, the Unearthed Tips and Tricks.
Very exciting.
And now, what you've all been
character
waiting
concept.
for.
Hello,
Our
my
Unearthed
name
Tips
is
and
Elizabeth.
Tricks segment, where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
It's fine. What were you saying, Alex?
Solid mess up
It's
right
all
there.
good.
It's fine though, because you can like take it out of the actual recording, right?
Yeah.
Seth,
Yeah.
please do that.
Good.
Alex actually brought us a character concept today,
So funny.
either could be a PC or an NPC at your table. Alex, would you like to tell us about it?
Yes. Hello, my name is Amusement. I am a 30-something-year-old tiefling who loves two things, a good drink and a good laugh. Amusement is a contact point for your players. Someone that if they gain the favor, they also gain insight. Like we were talking earlier, knowledge, it costs something. Luckily, he loves to talk and loves to laugh, and it's pretty easy to win him over. If players are shy, Amusement will ask them to do something stupid and funny. For example, I asked my biggest player one time, who was a half-orc, to juggle the gnome and goblin PCs for free drinks all night. And that's how they got introduced. Another note is that he does not serve beer at his tavern. He serves only good wine, good rum, and good Wardven whiskey.
What? No bourbon toe? This is unacceptable. I be gone. I love this character concept because I love the idea of an informant. As I've already previously told, I love political intrigue. It's one of my favorite aspects. And building a character whose sole goal is to provide information is really important because the stakes can always be raised of the requirement. Like I can easily see, do you know what I had to go through to get this piece of information? And the normal rate's just not going to do. You're going to have to owe me a favor or something. I can't do the dope-ass voice she did, but you get the point. What do you guys think about this character concept? Besides the dope name, Amusement.
Go ahead, Ian.
Definitely seems to be an interesting point of contact, and the directions you can take this character concept, I can see going in a lot of directions. And I also like the fact that they have their own establishment, too, which you can build off of.
That would be cool. Like a little corner office.
I particularly enjoy the you have to make me laugh in order for me to win me over. So I really enjoy the idea that this half-orc was looking at this gnome and was like, I'm sorry, buddy. I have to do this. And the gnome's like, oh God, please.
So, what do you think about an informant occasionally having misunderstood or inaccurate information?
That's
Well,
what
I'm
I
not
do.
a very good informant.
Okay, yeah. Very rarely, but one time my players were being so stupid and not taking any precautions, despite the fact that I told them 3 times to do so. Amusement got a little piece of information that there was going to be a meeting of the people that they needed to find in this basement, and it wasn't the people that they needed to find.
Oh no!
It was the dead body of the PC that they had been helping sister, and demons.
Oh jeez, that's not great.
Demons!
Because they were really terrible at stealthing.
The first thing I was thinking of is, what if the information is accurate, but not in the way the players assume? So, for instance, let's say the piece of information would be the location of a villain, right? A villain. So they get wind that the big bad villain and his crew meet on the third night of every month, right? At the Salty Salmon. That's the information, right? But when they finally go, they set up their ambush and everything. They're here for Fred John something, okay? But when they find out, they start stalking and they plan this thing, and it turns out it's the big bad John Fred and his Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, where it's something that's so small that could be easily misunderstood. And I think in my mind, it's players who are murder hobos that would just go in swinging before they figured out what was really going on. Is that wrong to do?
You mean like telephone happened to the informant?
Yes!
Oh
yes!
my God, that's so smart!
Like,
oh my God, our players are gonna hate you.
Right? Like, I'm not saying it's not...
Or...
Go ahead.
One option, too, is maybe the informant gave them the information using thieves' cant, so the person who listened to it thought something else was said completely.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I like that. So even you could do that with any language. Maybe it was misinterpreted. because
He's like, no, I don't know Dwarven very well, but from what I do know, it didn't sound good.
right, or even
Or
the
like
character. Go ahead.
You could just do like different dialects. Like, don't
Mm-hmm.
you think that hill dwarves would have different dialect than mountain dwarves?
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
See, and
So
that's
like Truck and Maury.
yeah. So like a total just not that their information was completely inaccurate, but something in the language or the telephone distribution line got kind of mixed up. And so now the information they're chasing down was inaccurate. And it could be as simple as a time difference that, hey, I hear that they're planning to blow up this location in, 12 hours. Well, it wasn't 12 hours. It was an hour and 20 minutes. And so when they're on their way there, so I don't know. Apparently
You
I'm not
just
supposed to
blew
give
my
you,
brain.
apparently I'm not supposed to give you ideas. Anyway, so thank you so much for bringing this character concept, Amusement, Alex. I love it.
Yes.
Our monster variant of the podcast is the Chronoblade. So in order to do this, you're going to start with the green hag stat block because let's be honest, it's easier to use play-tested stat blocks than come up with my own. So you're going to get rid of the lot. You're going to lose features amphibious, illusionary disguise, claws, and mimicry. Justin, that's most of the features of the green hag. That's the point. We're going to give it some new features. We're going to give it slowing aura. So a creature that starts its turn within 10 feet of the Chronoblade must succeed on a DC 14 Constitution saving throw or on a on a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature can't use reactions. Its speed is halved and it can't take more than one attack on its turn. In addition, the creature can either use an action or a bonus action on its turn, not both. These effects last for 1 minute. The creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns if it is not in the aura. So standing close, bad. Running away, good. Ending the effect on itself on a successful save. What we're going to do is we're going to give it the short sword, which can be used to attack twice, so it will still have a multi-attack, right? It can attack with its bonus action if it chooses. So the big core is anybody close to it gets slowed down. That's where the Chronoblade comes in, but it can do one better. We're also going to give it bend time, which recharges on a 5 or a 6. As an action, the Chronoblade can bend time around itself, allowing it to move at incredible speeds until the end of its next turn. It gains a +2 bonus to its AC. It has advantage on dexterity saving speed, and its walking speed doubles to 60. And it can make 2 short sword attacks as a bonus action, bumping it up to 3. You are all boned.
It's just better haste.
I wouldn't say that it's better because
There's no downside.
oh yeah, you're right. It
You don't
is
have to focus
better.
on it. You don't get
No
the
concentration.
lethargy on it. It's literally better haste.
Yes. What do you guys think?
Could you imagine like seeing this thing in real life though?
I imagine it would have like I imagine it have like
I would be dead.
like the heat
I wouldn't
wave
even know.
distortion over like a flame around it.
Well, I would be. I just curl in the ball if I saw this in real. Like if it just like started like moving around, because like with a 5 and a 6, like that's so sporadic.
Yes.
Like that's very randomized, and so like just as random moving around and like very fast and plus the aura, Jesus.
Well, the difference in this and haste is this still takes your action every turn. So that's clear. So basically, instead of attacking with an action and a bonus, you're just getting 2 in with your bonus. So I wouldn't say it's as good, but she's right. It kind of turns on and off as they use their action as it recharges. Which I think is fun. As Darkforge in the chat mentions, the aura is terrible. So any melee are going to have to now completely revamp their strategy for this battle, unless they're going to be okay with just, okay, I'm done.
You know those throwing axes that you took at level 1 because you're like, yeah, why not?
Now you're going to use them.
Amazing.
I love it. Ian, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I pulled up like the green head's stat block too, and this is a CR3 creature, but I think this adds quite a bit of utility to them. And even though the green has a spellcaster, I'm actually kind of surprised how high their physical stats are too.
Right? That's what I said when I was looking for the perfect stats.
And for that matter, the character concept made me think of the character Wayne from Brandon Sanderson's book.
Oh, nice. That's a good example. For those that don't know, you should be reading Brandon Sanderson's and know everything about him.
Yes.
All right. Do we got any other comments on this? This is pretty straightforward. I cannot wait to write the lore out for this for my patrons because, damn, I've got some good stuff planned for why this monster exist or character exists. Monster more of an NPC, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anything else? Nope. Good.
No,
All right,
not
that'll
really,
do it
yeah.
for our monster variant, the Chronoblade. Stay out of range. Austin, would you like to tell us about our encounter of the podcast?
Sure, so our encounter is the Swamp of Sorrows. A main tradeway skirts around and some spots passes through a black, stale, noxious swamp. A character who succeeds on a DC 15 intelligence nature check spots signs of the corrosive critters. When the characters are traveling through, they are attacked by 2 black pudding. A failure on the check means the characters are surprised. The black puddings often lay flat and still on a pathway or wrapped around a dead log. This allows it to blend in with its swampy surroundings, appearing as nothing more than a swamp puddle or decaying tree trunk. This allows them to ensure the first warning a traveler receives of the ooze's presence is the searing pain of its acidic touch.
Surprise, motherfuckers.
Now, a character with alchemist tools can attempt a DC 17 tool check. On a success, they're able to extract enough of the pudding's living core essence, mixing it with some of their supplies to create a potion of diminution. If the character succeeds by more than 5 on the check, they are able to extract enough for 2 uses. On a failure, the character suffers the random effect of the Enlarge Reduce spell for 1d4 days or until removed with Dispel Magic or similar magic.
Alex, what do you think about this?
First of all, I just want to say you did a better job reading diminution than I could have. So good job, because I don't know that word. This is really fun. This is really, really fun. You know, swamps do not. I know it's the Swamp of Sorrow, but swamps do not get enough love.
Ain't that the
Swamp-
truth?
Swamps don't get enough love, and like deserts don't get enough love. So I always give bonus stars to people who try to use terrains that are not the forest,
Yeah.
the mountains. Black
That's how I roll.
puddings, nice. I love black puddings.
Is it
yeah,
puddings? I wasn't sure if I should make that plural or not. I didn't know if it was 2
don't
black
know.
pudding or 2 black puddings. But anyways, yeah,
But
you're right.
I love this. I also, you know, I'm one of those people that like I give my players too many chances to not have a surprise round. So I love the fact that it is literally like surprise. Because well, I mean there is a chance, but like whenever it tells me that I'm supposed to have a surprise round, I'm more likely to be like, oh, okay, I'm not the one surprising them. It's the book that's surprising them. So I don't have
you don't
to
feel
bad.
as bad about it.
Mhm.
I feel guilty about that too. I had to do that in my
Yeah.
patron game yesterday, and I always feel bad.
I know.
Not even my
But
fault.
yeah, those
It's
are
part
my
of the game.
thoughts.
So,
I'd say solid.
what do you guys think?
I have to laugh every time somebody brings up surprise rounds in 5th editions. You always get that one guy like, there are no surprise rounds in 5th edition. I'm like, well, yes, but actually no. Because that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's pretty
Mhm.
similar. It just means you don't take a turn that round.
Yeah.
Austin?
I just like the black pudding. It's just such a, I don't know, pudding is such a silly word to me, so I'm just like, I'm just imagining just like actual pudding on a log, and it's just, apparently it is very corrosive and murders a lot of things.
One of my favorite things I enjoyed about making this was not only the surprising black puddings, because that's awesome, but the additional use of the alchemist tools to create a potion that can change
Yes.
somebody's size.
Nice touch.
Because little things like that included in your encounters allow the players to get the most out of their utility features that only usually come into play when they say they want them to. In this case, if a player fought this and they beat it, I would say you can either just tell them outright, as an alchemist, you know that this thing's core is valuable. You can make an alchemist tool check and try to salvage some of it to use it to create a potion of that other thing. Which, if you don't know, basically, if you drink it, you gain the effects randomly of the enlarge or the reduce spell. Or you can have the player choose which ones they want to make. I want this one to be enlarge or reduce, and then of course if they fail, suffering the effects because they failed to get it to remove it appropriately also seems really fun. The Goliath becoming small than everyone else is just hilarious.
They accidentally poke themselves with, and they're like, "Oh God, you man!"
That's exactly what was going through my mind. So, and I think that as DMs and content creators, finding a way to fit those into now, for clarification, there's nothing in the book that says anything about a black pudding being used to make this potion, but there's no rules that say what goes into making a potion. So there you go.
It's true.
Make it up as you go. That's what I do.
We live in a world of magic, so
Yeah.
anything goes as far as I'm concerned.
That's not how it works in real life. I'm like, bitch, there's dragons. Shut up. That'll do it for our encounter of the podcast, The Swamp of Sorrows. Ian, would you like to tell us about our magic item?
Magic item comes from Strongholds and Followers, and it is the armor of Saint Gade, the Confessor.
Nice.
It is plate armor, rare, requires attunement. This set of magic plate mail covers in silver filigree grants +1 armor class to the wearer. Also, once per month, the owner can summon the spirit of the blue dragon phalanx to aid them in battle. The phalanx serves for 1 hour or 2 battles, whatever comes first. The spirit of the blue dragonflight will fight your enemies, but in order to do anything else other than fight, will stand around looking confused, wondering what happened to their bodies in the world they once knew.
I picked this item for a number of different reasons. First of all, the idea of summoning a spiritual dragon to fight for you is just amazing. The fact that it's once a month means they're only going to use it when they really feel like they need to.
I don't think you summon any dragons, but you summon a small army because it says blue dragon phalanx.
Oh, is that what that is? A small dragon-like army? Oh, that's way less cool than I was thinking then. Like...
I don't know what it is, so I would have to look it up.
Figure this out.
Well, see... Oh, yeah, so it's like... so the blue dragonflight must be like an army? Like, we're thinking what is the final Lord of the Rings flick with all the the devil or spirits? Kind of like that, maybe. I think them start arguing and refusing to fight. So this is meant for war-on-war action. Then that's far less cool than I thought it was. I mean, don't get me wrong, still badass, but I thought it was like a big giant dragon spirit. So, what do you think, Alex?
I mean, you can just flavor it that way. I mean, so personally, a lot of the Stronghold Followers magic items are really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I love this one a lot because it specifically tells you, hey, there are going to be people who are going to try to power game or manipulate this. No. No.
It does have that defense into it. I like that. You're right.
And I appreciate...
Pull up the stat block of the blue... the blue dragon phalanx, and basically they're dragonborn, super elite, super heavy infantry.
Oh.
Okay. Thanks for that. What were you saying, Alex?
I was just saying that, Matt Colville was really, really, whenever he wrote this, he said that he wrote it for, dungeon masters. Because, there are us dungeon masters well, I don't know. And it's like, no, you can't do that. I really appreciate that. I still like the idea of, you sweep your sword and then all of a sudden, a blue dragon dragonborn army appears. That still is really
that is really cool.
Really scenic.
That is still pretty cool. And I think what else is interesting is if I'm inside a building, can I still use this, or do I need to be outside on the middle of a battlefield to do it?
It just says it just needs to be ordered to fight an enemy, and if you say that's the enemy right there, they're gonna go fight it.
Ian put in chat, you in what army? This one! I do think it's really cool. Once again, I love that it's on a month cooldown. As opposed to, I don't know that cooldown's the right word, but I'm a video gamer, so that's the word you're getting. I think that it recharges once a month, so it really can be only used in infrequently and under certain conditions. I do love the idea of somebody just summoning it and then them not having a target, and then the spirits are just arguing about what happened. Why did you rise? We're supposed to be your backup, and you just called us to open up your door? Who do you think we are? We are better than this. And then they kill the player.
Oh, that
maybe not.
But on the flip side, the flip side, I really like the idea of creating an entire arc about this like dude that maybe like he can't be killed except by aberrations or something.
And this
And then
becomes
it's like, hello. And then this is what I'm talking about, where it's like a cool custom item.
Yep.
Like you either get like a follower, a stronghold, or like, hey, the villain can only be killed by aberrations. Guess what? I can summon an army of aberrations. Like,
Let's make it better.
okay.
They meet Amusement, and she shares the information about this thing that can summon a massive blue dragon. But then it summons a blue dragon phalanx instead. Like, how mind-blown would the players be if they've tracked down this magical item to conjure a spiritual dragon, and it turns out to be to down this big bad boss, and it turns out instead of bringing a dragon, it brings an entire army, and then the monster is just like, oh shit.
Oh my god, that would be so good. That would
Actually,
be
the thing that just
I
occurred to
only
me is,
expected
what
one
if
thing.
the party infiltrates an enemy stronghold, eventually gets away inside, and then you summon the entire army inside said stronghold?
Oh, that is
I'm
some
going to ensue
Trojan.
chaos.
That is some Trojan level shit right there. So this
I
is
love it.
What if the big bad evil guy had this?
you're boned. Maybe that's it. Maybe they had something like this, and it's the red dragon flight, and you need to find the one to counter. So it's red versus blue.
Stop, we're just going back to
Okay,
2007.
right. All right, I think that'll do it for our magic item. The armor of Saint Gade, the Confessor from Strongholds and Followers. What a really cool item. Alex, you brought a Dungeon Master tip with you today. Would you like to talk about racial variance for
Yes,
us?
I'm very nervous to talk about it because I've actually never shared my racial variants with anyone before.
Ooh.
It's actually like I've never shared them before.
You've got this.
The most fun thing to do is fully customize your PC, right? All the way from the class to the race. And that is why, for the first time, I am showing off mine and my boyfriend's creation of the homebrew variant, a lightning genasi. These are my love letter to the nomadic lifestyle with not a care in the world. Lightning genasi roam the land in small caravans of 20-ish people. They are known for their stylistic and hypnotic dancing music, which traditionally includes steel drums, which they send currents through to make a unique sound only a lightning genasi can. They are often sarcastic and witty, but deeply care about family, happiness, and the material plane.
That's awesome. Do you think that a thunderstorm always follows them? Like,
Oh my God, that'd be so fun though. That would be great if like a thunderstorm always followed them.
so let's talk about the ability increases and the
Yeah.
features you get, because that's what we really that's what the hardcore players care about. Me, I love the lore. I think you did a great job with it. Can I ask one question about the nomadic's lifestyle? Is that something that's known with Genasi in general? Or is that something you created for this variant?
So actually in my world, the Genasi are extinct. They disappeared. They were the first race. They were the first race to ever exist in the world, and all of a sudden one day they all died, and nobody knows why.
Oh, that is fascinating.
You're
So-
gonna find out why.
Okay, let's see what we got. I was just curious about that. I thought it was a nice touch.
you're gonna find out why in the game.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah. But ability score, you increase your charisma and wisdom by 1. Alignment, any alignment. But they really trust only kin. So kind of keep that in mind. Now for the fun stuff. Traveler's intuition. You have proficiency in survival and persuasion skills. Lightning resistant. You're resistant to lightning. Inner polarity. You are able to hone in on the polarization around you for a moment due to your heritage. Either ability may be used through this feature once this feature has been used. So you can use one of two things because of this, and then you can't do it again for the long range. So because you have inner polarity, you can either A, discharge. As an action, you can discharge,
You can make it.
choosing either a 10-foot radius around yourself or a 30-foot line that is 5 feet wide. Each creature in the area must make a dexterity saving throw, with the DC being, the normal one, 8+ stuff. Each creature that fails takes 2d6 lightning damage, half as much on a save, and as you gain level, the damage increases. So
Nice.
basically, you just shoot your lightning into the ground or around you.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can either do that or lightning quick reflexes. After having failed a dexterity saving throw before the outcome is determined, you can choose to succeed the DC by 1, regardless of the number that is rolled, because you're lightning quick.
Oh, so it basically turns it into an auto success for
Yeah,
that one.
it
That's pretty cool.
but only on dexterity saving throws.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I do like the fact that the discharge actually scales with your character level, and I don't think there's enough racial features that do that.
I
yes,
can agree to
But
that.
the big one that comes to mind for me is the Goliath's resilience.
Yeah.
right? You mean the resilience or Stone's endurance? Stone's endurance, right?
Those endurance.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I think she did a really, really good job on this. I would even say, look, the discharge is a good reflection of like the Dragonborn's breath weapon. So it's very much in line with that, which means it's a balanced feature, which is really nice. I do think the lightning quick reflexes is really cool. I think I would just reword it to treat it as like the legendary resistances instead. I think that would give you more mechanic accurate WotC style. But other than that,
Yeah.
it's perfect. That's fantastic. That's a really good. You can either use it defensively or you can use it offensively. You kind of have that options in between. And I would encourage anybody to consider building their own races. The DMG has the rules for that stuff, and it's very simple, especially if you start with templates that already exist.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're DMs, we love to write, so why wouldn't we create our own races? I mean, and I think Alex has done a wonderful job on this.
Oh, thank you.
So,
For that matter, Tasha's has a whole page dedicated to building your own race too.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like a
And-
page.
And honestly, if my players
that.
if my players approached me with wanting to try something new, I'd be all over that. I would review it and change it to make sure it wasn't out of this world and balanced, but I think it would be, and I say that with 2 of my players in this chat. That
I was gonna say I have a whole Google Doc for you if you want to reread it.
but I think this is great, and I would encourage every DM to do it. I want to say thank you to Alex for sharing this. This is fantastic. I do
Yeah, I
think
really
you
like it.
should consider putting it in a nice layout and publishing it, and sharing it with the world. So
I would love to. I'm getting all red. Thank you. That made me so happy.
all right. Do we have
Good
any questions on this?
Not questions. I mean, I really like the one. I out of all the elements, lightning is the one I vibe with the most. So this is a good time.
Isn't
I
your
really
character
like
you're
the-
rocking right now in Capes and Crooks a lightning base, lightning and fire?
Yeah, he's all lightning and fire. He just burns everything, and then he grapples you, and you're just getting electrocuted. It's a good time. So I really vibe with this. I
Yeah.
really like the resistance with lightning, and I really like the discharge particularly. I think that's really fun. So
Max was the main person. I'm just to be transparent. Max was the main person on the discharge. I was the one that had the idea of like, wow, and like
That's where you
just, like,
start.
but he was the one that really really came up with it. So
That's
but,
fucking teamwork.
I know it's great. But, we
Teamwork's good.
have lightning. So I don't have any I don't have any Genasis in my world, and so somebody wanted to play a Genasi at my table one time. So I was like, I can make like alternate. So then we made like the chaotic elements.
Mhm.
So smoke, magma, mud, and lightning are the four.
That's
The
cool.
four that we have.
That's really
And
cool.
smoke and lightning are our favorite. Actually, magma is also really cool. I don't know. They're all
Don't
really good.
tease me like this. Now I've got to read these.
I'll send you them.
Which
You can tell me what you think.
you know what? Do that. Send it right to my email. And I would be happy to check it out and judge it, because that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Anyways, but that's because I do a lot of content creation, so I've learned a lot from it. All right, that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip. Create racial variants. It's okay. It's fun. I promise. Create your own races.
Your own races. Good time.
our player tip of the our player tip of the podcast is
Don't
be a dick. And you can avoid dickitude by giving your collecting barbarian trophies. Many barbarians wear trophies over their armor and weapons. They do this to demonstrate their combat prowess to those who would challenge them. Additionally, this serves as a reminder to the barbarian of the challenges that they have overcome and their glorious victories in battle. While taking the claws, teeth, and weapons, cloth, and other parts or personal items to be added to their collection from their enemies and their accomplishments is a common practice for barbarians. Many barbarians prefer to keep their proudest trophies on display. Not in the form of enemies and challenges that were easily to overcome, but those that pushed them to the brink of death and defeat. Challenges that they nearly lost, and it took every part of their being to overcome. Even while giving it everything they had. I mean, that right there just screams barbarian. For a prideful barbarian, the best trophies symbolize an opponent's strength and their ability to overcome it. Not like Goliath Craig, who slayed a bear. Every Goliath has slayed a bear, right? Mm-hmm. If you decide to have your character collect trophies of your character's fallen enemies or difficult challenges they overcome, make a list of each of the items you've collected. As a player and a PC, these are far more than just marks of victory. They are symbols of your character's backstory. So in my mind, as you're collecting these things, if you were collecting these things and you went into an area and started talking to NPCs, they're going to ask you about those, giving you a chance to remind you of those things that you've done, not just in your backstory, but things during the adventure. It builds out an entire list of your character's history that can be collected. And what's cool, it gives you cool stuff to decorate your stronghold with. Yeah, like come on, why not?
I can agree with that.
What do you guys think about this?
So I just want to add, because I had a barbarian. I had a paladin. Yeah, the paladin. I had a paladin do this. But they didn't collect items. They collected names. So like the bringer of the savior of blah blah blah. The what are those called? Titles.
We had a title collector. Yeah.
He was a title collector, and so that's like that's like I just love that. Oh my god, if I had a freaking. Can I tell you just how happy I would be if I had a character cut off the big bad's ear after he was dead and was like, this is mine now? I would just be like, it never rots. I don't know why. It just doesn't.
He would cut it off and be like, listen here. Do you see what I had to overcome to be here? Oh, that's funny. We actually covered a long time ago. We covered the title collector character art thing, and Ryan, who was my co-host, then came with like a sheet of paper, like really long, and started reading, "I am the conqueror of blah, the destroyer." I mean, he just started. I had to crop it down to like 4 things because it was so long. But that was his whole thing. So yeah, those things are really fun. So I'm envisioning like a Death Note book. I've collected it. There's your name. Except it's funny because the barbarian can't write, so now it's just squiggly marks. Who's that? But he remembers that was Billy John, the giant of Hammond. You know, some shit.
Like, draws little doodles, and those are like the different people he killed.
What are these? These are their names. That's not any form of literature. Who asked you? Anyways, so that's really cool. What do you guys, Ian, Austin, do you have anything?
Dennis likes his skulls.
Oh,
Same.
God.
A barbarian that collects the skulls of his former enemies.
Yeah.
I say former because they're not alive anymore.
Right. That reminds me of like the really common one for like witch doctors, like shrunken heads, right? So like that could be really fun where they go through, once he collects one, he drags the head off, you know, and then he goes through this process to shrink it and he wears them around his belt. Sir, does that shrunken head look like a member of the Blue Dragon Flight? He's like, yeah, I could only fit one. The rest of them are in my vault. All of them. Every last one. This is the leader.
So
The idea of a vault of heads.
I just have to tell a story. It's real fast. My campaign that's going on right now, my home campaign, I have someone. His name is Vegan. He's a fighter and he collects heads. and like he actually collects heads. And so I told him he just like literally has all of these heads on his body, and like one of the NPCs was like, you can't like, no, take them off. And he was like, man, he took them off. So I have a head collector right now.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. You can't come in because that's disgusting and unsanitary.
No.
Oh, that's funny. All right. I think that'll do it for our player tip of the podcast. Don't be a dick. And you can avoid dickitude by having your barbarian collecting trophies, or your paladin, or your... Oh my god, that would be just a weird thing to have, like a scrawny, like, halfling who's, like, malnourished, who just collects body parts. Anyways, though, yeah. I've had a character do that, and I actually had one of my players had to approach me and tell me, to stop describing some of this stuff, because it was so gross. That'll do it for our show today. Before we what?
You collected body parts, but you gave me a hard time when Shrek tried to carry a dead body around.
That's different.
Is it?
No, it's not. Don't give her any help, okay?
I was gonna say one's a lot worse than the other. I just want you to know.
Yeah, whatever.
And it's not the one dragging the dead body.
All right, so that'll do it for our main show today. Before we close out, we have another gift to give away. Compliments of our generous sponsors. Ian?
Our RPG Fat Loot giveaway is the Bewitching Trilogy. The Dramatis Personae trilogy expands the Warlock subclass features, giving more thematic options to differentiate between each patron. Instead of creating a generic theme for the Warlock, you can customize it for a specific entity, such as Orcus or Zariel,
Yes.
adding different features for each.
Very
Our
cool
winner
stuff.
today for this is W. Tully65.
Woo! Congratulations.
That win? Not a problem. Head over to createacademy.com, and not only can you subscribe for a chance to win, you can collect plenty of free stuff as it is.
Oh god, yes, we have a whole section for free loot. So please check it out. We got our magic item generator, our potion generator. You can get fantastic terrain, a small sample of 10 fantastic terrain to enhance your stories and campaigns. Definitely consider checking it out. We enjoy giving away loot and making lots of free stuff. And if you like that, consider buying one of the other things. Most all of them are bestsellers, I think. So before we close here, Alex, would you like to give yourself one last plug?
Hello, my name is Alex Baum, misspelled, of course, AELXBOMB, because I am very dyslexic. I am a TikToker. I am a Twitch person. I am on all the sites at the same name because nobody ever misspells Alex, just me. If you would like to catch Justin on Initiative and Intrigue, playing a barbarian cook. Apparently a Russian accent?
Yes. Do you got problem with cooking in Russian? There's no such thing as Russian. This Orcish. Just heavy Orcish accent. What can I say?
I love it. Go ahead and follow me on Twitch. And that is where we will be showing Initiative and Intrigue. Yay!
Yay! I'm super excited. I'll have to make sure I set my end up to host to do the when it yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I don't use it enough, so I don't know all the lingo, but we're really excited to have you. Thank you. Make sure you follow her on TikTok. Alex makes absolutely fantastic D&D content, and I'm lucky enough to have stumbled across her of the billions of people on TikTok. So thank you so much for that. I've linked the free loot section in the chat as well, so if you want to check out any of that, please do. Every week we make new content for our patrons. All of our Unearthed tips and tricks are compiled into a monthly zine now, so if that's something you're interested, you can either pick it up or become a patron and get that and the backlog issues, and all kinds of lots of stuff. I've gotten really fancy with some of my content, so please consider checking us out. That'll do it for our show today. Please join us on our next episode where we're going to be talking Candlekeep Mysteries, and I'm super excited because I love this book, and I hope that you guys will too. So, all right, with that, let us all wave to the camera, and we'll see you guys later. Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes. Bye.
See you later, guys.